This is going to be a comparison video between the original Dirtywave M8 and the newly released Model 2. So first of all, basically the software is exactly the same, so I'm going to mostly ignore it. I'm just going to focus on what you're going to get with both devices and the hardware differences. So first of all, in case you don't know, but the M8 comes in this really cool carrying case with a little pouch to store stuff in or store the actual device in. Both of them are almost identical. For some reason, the new one is a tiny little bit smaller. No idea why. Not that it affects anything or so. It's just that the old one you could just kind of get out of the case like that, right? And the new one, you have this pull tab basically where you just have to kind of pry it out a little bit. Nothing really that is of importance, I would say, or is changing your opinion on the devices. It's just something I thought I noticed, or that I noticed, right? So, yeah, looking at the two devices, as mentioned, the software is probably almost identical, right? What are the differences then? Well, the first big one is the microphone, right? So this little hole here that you have here, you can use for recording all kinds of sounds. Quite handy if you're out and and listen to something. I mean, honestly, I mainly use my phone for that because, you know, that's the mic you always carry with you. But I guess it's kind of interesting and fun anyways to have it, right? Better to have it than not, I would say. The second big thing, in my opinion, is the screen. I mean, you can already tell from looking at the two devices that this screen on the new model is way bigger, and I feel like also the resolution is better, but maybe that's just because it's bigger, right, and brighter. Yeah, that's probably for people with bad eyesight a real game changer, right? Because this one, especially in this mode that I have it in, it can be quite tricky to read. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that I don't really have an issue with that yet. Fingers crossed, right? But you know, just from comparison here, you can tell definitely that there is a big difference between the two, right? One thing to note though is that there's the big font mode on this device, or on actually on both devices, that you can switch on, and then also this one has, I would say, almost comparable from the screen readability now in this mode. But obviously you're losing this sidebar here that this can still show. And obviously you can also switch on a kind of a big font mode on here to make it even bigger, right? There you go. So new device again wins. So in this case, it should be pretty obvious which one is better readable. When I can actually read both of them, you know, I can read them both fine from here, but yeah, clear winner for the Model 2. So, but actually let me switch it back because that's somehow scaring me, this font here. Yeah, so what other differences are there? Well, hardware-wise, the battery, I think, is the second biggest thing. I personally never had an issue with battery life on the original M8. I think it's around 3 to 4 hours. It also depends if you use the speakers or headphones, or I guess what you do with it. If you do like MIDI or so, maybe that has an influence. I don't know. Anyways, for me, I never really had an issue. I don't really leave the house that much, right? But I guess for people that travel, it could be a problem, right? I've read people that will then carry just either a charger or a battery pack of some sorts to recharge it. As far as I know, this new Model 2 has an insane battery life, like something like 10 hours or whatever, or 8 to 10 hours. But I haven't really confirmed that yet or tried that out yet. As mentioned, I'm usually once a day close to a charger, and I don't really spend more than a couple of hours working on one of those devices anyways. So yeah, that's more for people that have different needs, I suppose, right? So yeah. Third difference, USB-C. So the original Dirtywave M8 came with a micro USB port. That's due to the fact it uses the Teensy, which is the microcontroller, and that supported only USB or micro USB as far as I know. And that was changed in the new model that now has a USB-C port. Otherwise, I think they're pretty much identical, right? From functionality-wise, you don't get any special USB-C features or something, right? No USB hosting on that stuff. It's just a different port, which is quite nice because I don't really like carrying micro USB cables. I quite like having only one cable with me, right? Take note, Apple. So what other differences are there? Well, obviously the hardware, right? So this model, the original model, is basically an aluminum case or some kind of metal case. I suppose aluminum, and the top here is basically a coated PCB, right? So all of the components are mounted directly on here. But don't get me wrong, this still feels like a high-end device. I mean, still, although, you know, you could say, oh, the screen sticks out here a little bit and so on, and you could get, actually one thing that happened to me is that one of the keys kind of ripped out a little bit because it got stuck, right? Because it sticks out quite a bit. But that's probably more a me problem. Also, those are hot swappable, right? So you can just take them out and put another one in without actually breaking it, right? Or if you don't like the switches, you can switch them to something else, right? So those are, I mean, I do like switches to be more silent, right? But I never had an issue with anyone complaining, you know, this sound, right? So in comparison, the Model 2 is kind of more like a Game Boy from the look, right? It's completely enclosed. It's fully metal, right, of some sorts, aluminum or whatever it is, right? The keys don't stick out that much. It just feels like a more, I wouldn't call it premium, or I wouldn't call it more solid, because this still feels really solid. It's just more refined, let's say, right? It feels like a little bit more like an actual off-the-shelf product, right? Produced in masses, right? Whereas this, I guess the only place you could tell it's kind of the screen protection thing around here that's a little bit, unusual, I would say, for a modern device. Anyways, again, let me stress, this is an awesome device. It's built really well. Same as the new device, obviously, both are exceptionally well built. So, other differences, I would say the speakers are also different. So let me actually give you a quick listen. So I'm gonna just play you something from a song of mine. So I've loaded the same song up on both devices, so you can kind of get an idea how they sound. I'm just gonna put the original to the microphone and you can have a listen. So now in comparison, the new one. All right, I think that should be enough. So personally, hearing them in person, I would say the original one actually has less highs, but a little bit more bass. This one has more highs, but a little bit less bass. All in all, I would say it doesn't really matter. It shouldn't affect your opinion on getting one of the other devices. The things that probably do matter, if you ask me, is A, do you need insane battery life? Do you need a huge screen, right? Maybe because of your eyes? Then definitely go with the new model. I guess if you also really want USB-C on all of your devices, I guess there are some people out like that, then also this is a factor. Other than that, if you can snag one of those used somewhere, you still will be extremely happy about it. It's a great device. Oh yeah, and the mic, I guess. Some people, if you're traveling a lot and you just want to record something right away on the mic, that still works. But let me point out also, you can connect your phone, for example, via USB here on both devices, and then sample from there, which is something that I do very often, right? So you could technically record something on your phone or off YouTube or whatever, right? And then just record it directly via USB on the old one or on the new one, right? That also works. But other than that, don't get me wrong, it's a great update, the Model 2. It refines everything that could have been refined, in my opinion. I actually bought it mainly just because I want to support Dirtywave and Timothy, because I think they're doing a great job, right? I hope this video was helpful. If you want to support or give me a little bit of support, this song you just heard is off my EP called, the song is called Ultra Dune of my EP, You What Mate. I actually released 2 EPs with just songs built on the M8. Check them out on Bandcamp. You also get the bundles, so you can actually put this song or any song on there on your M8 and have a listen. Yeah, that was One Wild Rogue. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.